Before Season 2, let's go back and break down every gunfight, betrayal, love story, and battle for survival that shaped the Dutton legacy. If you missed anything, don't worry. This is the full, in-depth recap of the TV series 1923 Season 1. Let's get into it. Right from the start, 1923 pulls no punches. Jacob Dutton, played by the legendary Harrison Ford, is the tough-as-nails leader of the Yellowstone Ranch. Alongside him is Kara Dutton, his fiercely loyal and equally tough wife, played by Helen Mirren. The Duttons are facing a crisis. Montana is in the middle of a devastating drought, and their livestock is struggling to survive. But the real problem? The tension with the sheep herders, who are desperate to graze their flocks on Dutton land. That's where we meet Banner Creighton, the hot-headed Scottish sheep herder who doesn't take no for an answer. He and his men try to push onto Yellowstone territory, and Jacob makes it very clear. Trespassing won't be tolerated, but this is just the beginning of a bloody feud that will change everything. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Spencer Dutton, Jacob's nephew and a battle-hardened World War I veteran, is hunting big game in Africa. But it's not just lions and leopards he's trying to outrun. The war left scars on Spencer's mind, and he's drowning his past in whiskey and danger. Little does he know, trouble is brewing back home, and his family is going to need him more than ever. And then there's Teonna Rainwater. Her story is one of the most gut-wrenching in 1923. She's a young Native American girl forced into a Catholic boarding school, where she's brutally abused by the nuns trying to civilize her. But Teonna is strong, and she's not going to stay silent forever. Jacob isn't a man who gives second chances. When Banner and his men push their luck again, stealing cattle and trespassing on Dutton land, Jacob rounds up his cowboys and delivers swift frontier justice, hanging the trespassers from a tree as a warning. But Banner, he's not among them. He escapes, and if you know anything about revenge, you know this won't end well. Meanwhile, Spencer's adventures in Africa take an unexpected turn when he meets Alexandra, a beautiful, rebellious British woman who's engaged to a man she doesn't love. She's drawn to Spencer's wild, unpredictable nature, and before long, she makes a life-changing decision. She runs away with him, leaving her wealthy, aristocratic life behind. And over at the boarding school, Teonna has had enough. She finally fights back, killing Sister Mary in an act of raw, desperate survival. Now she's on the run, knowing full well that if she's caught, there will be no mercy. If you thought Banner was going to let the hangings go unanswered, you were dead wrong. He strikes back, and he strikes hard. He and his men ambush the Duttons in broad daylight, unleashing a hail of bullets. The aftermath is devastating. John Dutton Sr., Jacob's right-hand man and the father of Jack Dutton, is killed in cold blood. Jacob is shot multiple times, barely clinging to life, and young Elizabeth, Jack's fiancée, is seriously wounded. But Kara? She's not the kind of woman to break under pressure. In a moment of pure grit, she grabs a rifle and takes down one of the attackers herself. Then, covered in blood, she does the only thing she can. She writes a desperate letter to Spencer begging him to come home. But here's the catch. He's on the other side of the world, and it'll be months before he even reads it. Meanwhile, Banner isn't just some rogue outlaw. He has a powerful new ally. Enter Donald Whitfield, a wealthy, ruthless mining tycoon who sees an opportunity to crush the Duttons and take Yellowstone for himself. And unlike Banner, Whitfield doesn't just use bullets. He uses money and power, which might be even more dangerous. With Jacob on the brink of death, Kara steps up to keep the ranch together. She rallies the men, takes control of the operation, and prepares for the next battle. But Whitfield isn't wasting any time. He's already making moves to take Yellowstone, using his wealth to manipulate the law. In Africa, Spencer finally reads Kara's letter, and when he realizes how much danger his family is in, he doesn't hesitate. He and Alexandra begin their journey back to Montana, but this won't be an easy trip. Meanwhile, Teonna, still on the run, disguises herself as a boy and does everything she can to survive. She knows the nuns and the law won't stop hunting her. With John Dutton Sr. dead, Jacob still recovering, and Kara struggling to hold the ranch together, the future of Yellowstone is hanging by a thread. But the real threat isn't just the land war with Banner, it's Donald Whitfield. This guy isn't just after revenge like Banner, he wants complete domination. And unlike Jacob, he plays by an entirely different set of rules. One's written in money and power. Whitfield isn't going to attack the Duttons with bullets. He's going to strangle them financially until they have no choice but to give up their land. And the worst part? They don't even see it coming yet. Meanwhile, Spencer and Alexandra continue their treacherous journey home. They secure passage on a tugboat called the Sabrina, hoping this will finally get them closer to Montana. But nothing ever goes smoothly in Spencer's world. The ship gets lost at sea, leaving them stranded with no clear way forward. Alexandra is starting to understand just how dangerous Spencer's life really is, but she refuses to leave his side. This isn't just an adventure anymore, it's survival. Back in Montana, Teonna's journey remains one of the most brutal in the series. Now fully on the run, she's being pursued by both the law and the priests from the Catholic school. Her survival depends on her ability to stay hidden, but the odds are stacked against her. Fortunately, she finds an ally, Hank, a kind-hearted Native American man who offers her food and shelter. But safety is temporary. Teonna knows that as long as the white men see her as property rather than a person, she'll never truly be free. Spencer and Alexandra finally think they're making progress. They've survived lions, shipwrecks, and near starvation, but just when things start looking up, Alexandra's past comes crashing back. Her former fiancé, Arthur, and his powerful aristocratic family intercept them, refusing to let her go without a fight. And when I say fight, I mean it literally. Spencer ends up dueling Arthur on the deck of a ship, and let's just say, it doesn't end well for Arthur. The spoiled nobleman loses, and in typical aristocratic fashion, his family immediately turns against Spencer. They have him thrown off the ship, separating him from Alexandra yet again. Just when they were so close to getting home, they're ripped apart. Alexandra is left behind, and Spencer is once again alone. He has no idea how he's going to get back to Montana, or if Alexandra will even be waiting for him when he does. Back in Montana, the Duttons are finally realizing that their fight isn't just physical, it's legal. Whitfield isn't attacking them with guns, he's using contracts and loopholes. Jacob, still weak from his injuries, knows he can't win this alone. He turns to Sheriff McDowell for help, hoping the law can somehow slow Whitfield down. But in a world where money controls everything, the law may not be on their side after all. Meanwhile, Teonna's escape takes a devastating turn. Her pursuers are closing in, and she's running out of options. Hank helps her disguise herself as a boy, hoping it will help her avoid capture. But as we've seen time and time again, Teonna's battle for survival is far from over. Jacob and Kara finally get what they've been waiting for, Banner Creighton's arrest. It feels like a victory. After everything he's done, he's finally being held accountable, but the moment doesn't last long. Whitfield steps in, paying Banner's bail with barely a second thought. And just like that, Banner is free again, proving that in this world, money holds more power than justice. But Whitfield isn't just focused on Banner, he's got his sights set on Yellowstone itself, and this is where he makes his biggest move yet. He doesn't try to steal the land with violence, he does it with a pen. He pays off the Duttons' property taxes for the year, but here's the catch. If they can't pay him back by the deadline, the deed to the ranch automatically transfers to him. Just like that, Whitfield has set a timer on the Duttons' future, and the worst part? They don't have the money to stop him. Meanwhile, Teonna finally reunites with her father, runs his horse, and Pete Plenty Clouds, a young warrior determined to protect her. It's a rare moment of peace, but danger is never far behind. The men hunting her won't stop until she's either dead or back under their control. As for Spencer, he's still alone, still fighting to find his way home. Every obstacle in his path has made it clear. Getting back to Montana isn't just a journey, it's a battle. The season finale doesn't hold back. Whitfield is tightening his grip, the Duttons are running out of time, and the future of Yellowstone has never been more uncertain. Jacob and Kara have always been fighters, but this isn't the kind of war they know how to win. If they can't come up with the money before the deadline, everything they've built will be gone. Meanwhile, Spencer finally makes it to America, but just when he's so close to getting home, he faces one more gut-wrenching blow. Alexandra isn't with him. After everything they've been through, they're still apart, and as he steps onto American soil, he knows one thing for sure. He won't stop until he gets back to Montana, no matter what it takes. And in one of the most intense moments of the finale, Teonna's fight for freedom comes to a head. She, her father, and Pete are ambushed, proving that the people hunting her will never give up. The battle isn't just about survival anymore, it's about justice, about reclaiming her life on her own terms. As Season 1 comes to a close, we're left with more questions than answers. Can the Duttons stop Whitfield before he takes everything from them? Will Spencer and Alexandra find each other again, and will Teonna finally escape her past? Season 2 is going to be bigger, bloodier, and more intense than ever. Let us know your theories in the comments below.